War is one of the oldest human activities, yet it remains one of the most misunderstood. From childhood, we are taught to see war through carefully chosen images. Brave soldiers, noble sacrifices, decisive victories, and clear villains. Movies, textbooks, speeches, and news broadcasts all reinforce the same idea. That war is sometimes necessary, sometimes heroic, and sometimes unavoidable. But this version of war is incomplete. Behind the flags and anthems, behind the dramatic footage and patriotic slogans, there exists another reality, one that is rarely discussed openly. A reality shaped by power, secrecy, manipulation, and immense human cost. This is not a conspiracy hidden in the shadows. It is a pattern repeated throughout history. Today, we are not here to praise war or condemn any single nation. We are here to examine the deeper truth about how wars begin, who benefits from them, who suffers because of them, and why the cycle continues despite the devastation it causes. This is the secret truth about war. Wars do not start with explosions. They begin with conversations, quiet meetings behind closed doors, strategic calculations, and political decisions made long before the public becomes aware of them. While people are often told that war is a reaction to aggression or a sudden threat, history shows that most conflicts are preceded by months or years of tension, negotiation, provocation, and planning. Borders are disputed. Resources are contested. Alliances are formed. Military budgets are increased. Public opinion is slowly prepared. By the time the first shot is fired, the outcome has often already been predicted by those in power. Leaders rarely present war as a choice. Instead, it is framed as a necessity, something forced upon them. This framing removes responsibility and discourages questioning. If war is inevitable, then debate becomes pointless. If war is defensive, then criticism appears disloyal. However, peace is slow, complex, and uncertain. War, by contrast, offers clarity, urgency, and control, qualities that are attractive to those seeking authority. One of the most powerful tools in war is language. Civilian deaths become collateral damage. Invasions become operations. Bombings become precision strikes. Torture becomes enhanced interrogation. Through carefully chosen words, violence is softened, sanitized, and made more acceptable. This language is not accidental. It is designed to distance the public from the human reality of war. When suffering is reduced to statistics, empathy fades. When destruction is framed as strategy, morality becomes secondary. Even soldiers are affected by this language. They're trained to think in terms of objectives, targets, and missions, not families, homes, or lives. This psychological distance makes it easier to fight, but it also leaves lasting scars when the reality inevitably breaks through. Language shapes perception, and perception shapes consent. When war sounds clean and controlled, people are more willing to accept it. No modern war can be fought without public support. Propaganda is often misunderstood as crude or obvious, but the most effective propaganda is subtle. It does not always lie outright. It selects, emphasizes, and repeats certain truths while ignoring others. Media coverage focuses on dramatic moments rather than long-term consequences. Enemy actions are shown in detail, while one's own mistakes are minimized or justified. Complex geopolitical histories are simplified into moral narratives with heroes and villains. Fear plays a central role. When people feel threatened, they are more willing to surrender freedoms, support violence, and trust authority without question. War thrives on fear because official narratives are often dismissed as naive, disloyal, or dangerous. This social pressure discourages critical thinking at precisely the moment it is most needed. Soldiers are often portrayed as symbols, heroes, warriors, defenders of the nation. But behind the uniform are individuals with fears, doubts, and moral struggles. Many soldiers enter war believing in the cause they are told to fight for. But combat rarely resembles the ideals used to justify it. The chaos, confusion, and unpredictability of war create situations where right and wrong blur. Survival becomes the primary goal. The psychological impact of this environment is profound. Trauma does not end when the war ends. Memories persist. Guilt lingers. Many veterans struggle to reintegrate into civilian life, carrying invisible wounds that receive far less attention than physical injuries. The tragedy is not only what soldiers do in war, but what war does to soldiers. While soldiers fight, civilians suffer the most. Homes become battlefields. Schools become shelters. Hospitals become targets or overwhelmed. Ordinary life collapses under the weight of violence and uncertainty. Displacement is one of war's most devastating consequences. Millions are forced to flee their homes. Entire generations grow up knowing nothing but conflict. Children are especially affected. Exposure to violence at a young age shapes their psychology, their education, and their future opportunities. War does not end when the fighting stops. It continues in the lives it permanently alters. Yet civilian suffering is often treated as background noise, an unfortunate but acceptable side effect of larger goals. War is inseparable from power. For political leaders, war can consolidate authority. In times of conflict, dissent is discouraged, opposition is weakened, and emergency powers expand. Decisions that would normally face resistance are justified as necessary. Wartime powers are rarely fully surrendered once peace returns. Surveillance increase. Freedoms shrink. Militarization becomes normalized. Externally, war reshapes global power structures. Borders change. Governments fall. New alliances form. Those who emerge victorious gain influence, resources, and leverage. This is why war is often seen as a tool, not a failure of politics, but an extension of it. One of the most uncomfortable truths about war is that it is profitable. Defense contractors, arms manufacturers, and private military companies generate enormous revenue during conflict. Weapons are designed, produced, sold, tested, and replaced. Entire industries depend on continuous demand. This creates a dangerous incentive structure. When peace threatens profit, war becomes economically convenient. Lobbying influences policy. Military spending increases regardless of actual defense needs. This does not mean wars are fought only for money, but money ensures that there is always someone willing to benefit from them. The longer the conflict, the greater the profit. Every generation believes its war is different. Each conflict is presented as uniquely justified, uniquely moral, uniquely necessary. Past wars may be criticized, but present ones are defended. This pattern repeats endlessly. The idea of the good war is comforting. It allows people to believe that violence can be clean, controlled, and righteous. But history shows that even wars fought with noble intentions produce suffering, destruction, and unintended consequences. Good intentions do not prevent civilian deaths. Moral rhetoric does not rebuild cities. Victory does not heal trauma. The myth persists because it makes war easier to accept. In war, truth becomes a casualty. Information is classified. Journalists are restricted. Narratives are controlled. Facts are delayed or distorted until they no longer matter. If it ever does, the war is often over, and accountability is avoided. Mistakes are buried in reports. Responsibility is diluted across institutions. History is then rewritten, simplified, and taught in ways that prepare the next generation to repeat the cycle. If war is so destructive, why does it continue? Because it serves multiple interests at once. It consolidates power. It generates profit. It distracts from internal problems. It provides a sense of purpose and unity during times of uncertainty. Most importantly, war persists because its true cost is hidden from those who authorize it. Those who decide rarely suffer the consequences. The secret truth about war is not that it is mysterious or unknowable. It is that it is deliberately obscured. War is not inevitable. It is chosen. War is not simple. It is complex. War is not glorious. It is tragic. Understanding this does not require cynicism, only clarity. When we look beyond the slogans and symbols, we see war for what it truly is. A human failure with human consequences. Recognizing this truth is not weakness. It is the first step toward breaking the cycle. Because the greatest danger is not that war exists, but that it becomes normal.